Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good morning, everyone. We are supposed to discuss the Q&As today. So we stopped last time we did I think we did about 3 types of karma. It means Pachupattita karma, and also talked about the Sakka. Then there's another long question in line with question 16, and also with the wonderful explanation of Sugato from Bahya Sutta lectures. Would you kindly briefly instruct us on those words expressing the attributes of the Buddha, the Dhamma and the Sangha, together with various possibilities of word formation? It would be very useful and helpful for our daily recollection practice and much appreciated. This answer, this is because this is technically asking for 24 explanations of the 24 attributes of the triple gems, and I think this will take a lot of time, and it is a very, very quite long question. So it will be possible I can give maybe one attribute per a day, if it is, because if I keep on giving these 24 attributes at the same time, I can give the explanations, but it would cost a lot of time, and I think it will take almost 2-3 lectures only for these attributes. So I will be, as the question was raised, I will explain few explanations about the word arahang. All right, arahang, and then if we'll try to explain one by one, maybe every day, briefly, so we can cover the 24 attributes. We'll look into that. The word arahang has 5 basic meanings given in the Visuddhimagga. One is he's far away from the defilements. That comes from the araka. Araka means he's far away. He is far away from defilements. So this araka has changed into arahang. Right? So they are a little bit strange word formations when we consider in terms of maybe because ka and ha, maybe they have that guttural relationship. Maybe they are possible to be constructed, but normally they seems somewhat far away from each other when we look into them. So then we have another explanations. He has destroyed the enemies. Arinang hatatta. Araka kilesehi. Far away from defilements. Arinang hatatta. So here Ari means enemy. So enemies are the defilements. So there are 2 types of defilements. One is the defilements that are we call anusaya. Other type of defilement is vasana and vasana. So vasana is a defilement that is like a habitual effect in the mind due to defilements that have been practiced, defilements that have been aroused in the past. So anusaya is the defilement that we cut off normally. We cut off the anusaya with the attainment of arahantu. But when we come into vasana, normally vasana is not removed by the arahants. So it is even a Pacceka Buddha still have this vasana within them. Vasana is a habitual effect caused by the kilesas, in our mind. So therefore, a Buddha, but a Samma Sambuddha removes all both these Anusaya and Vasana while he attains the Maggapala. While he attains the Maggapala, he removes both these Anusaya and Vasana. Just give me 1 minute. Download. Anusaya and Vasana, he both removes both Vasana and Vasana. So even a Pacheka Buddha doesn't remove this Vasana. It is like a habitual effect of the mind. So our Buddha has removed both Anusaya and Vasana, and it is also mentioned why, even though Anusaya has been removed by a Pacheka Buddha and Arahant, why he doesn't come into the omnisciency. Omniscient knowledge is because according to our tradition, what is obstruct, there are two ways the wisdom can develop. That is by removing the defilements or getting away from the defilements, and the next thing is by developing the faculties, the spiritual faculties. Kilesas are an obstacle for our wisdom, so that's why when the kilesas are removed, we get various wisdoms, understandings. So that can also be so then we also have to develop the faculties in order to suppress the defilements and also to master the wisdom. So for example, when we suppress our defilements, like doing in the jhanas and so forth, we are able to attain certain wisdom, such as knowing the past life, knowing the future, and so forth. That is because we have removed the suppressed the defilements, and also we have to master the faculties by practicing in 14 ways and so forth. So there are two ways the wisdom develops. So when we talk about the obstacles of the wisdom, there are two obstacles: Anusaya obstacle and Vasana obstacle. So Arahant and Pacheka Buddha has removed the Anusaya, but Vasana is not removed. So their wisdom is interrupted by this Vasana. Interrupted means affected by this Vasana. Because of that, they cannot come into a full 100% knowledge. So when both the Anusaya and Vasana is removed, the efficacy of the wisdom becomes 100%. So that's why the Buddha, we call, is capable of knowing anything, knowing everything. So when we talk about the knowing his wisdom, that will be also discussed in Samma Sambuddha word, where the omnisciency. Normally the tradition says he has known everything. So this has to be explained Jnata Sabbanyu, we call. There are two ways of explaining this omnisciency. One is he has understood all the phenomenal truths, such as this is the nature of the mind, this is the nature of this conditioned realities. Such wise, if there is any phenomenon, he has understood is completely. That is what we believe as Savakas, that he has understood the phenomenon. But it doesn't mean that he knows every and each and every object, because the objects are infinite. Infinity of objects can be proven by two facts: that because according to the tradition, the space is infinite, there's no limitation in the space, so therefore the world cycles are infinite. It means the objects are infinite, and also there is no beginning in the samsara. So therefore, in terms of time also, when you go to the past, there is no limit of the objects. So when we say he's an omniscient, according to the tradition, many will have lots of questions if you objectively look into this knowledge. Very difficult to explain. So when we look into the omniscient knowledge in terms of time also, we find, because there is no limitation of the there's no beginning of samsara, so there are countless amount of objects. So it's impossible that he knows these all the objects. He has known. It is impossible that he has known all these objects. So what explains is his wisdom is avajjana patibaddha manasikara patibaddha. Whenever he wants to know something, the name of a certain person, the age of a certain person, his destination, he just direct his mind, and his wisdom understands what is his nature, and what he wants to know. So that is the omnisciency. It means in terms of phenomena, he has understood when he attained the Buddhahood. And then in terms of the objects, he is capable of knowing whatever the object he desires. If we take that he has already known all the objects, then what happened? The limit of the objects become finite. So then it would contradict with the fundamentals of the tradition. So then then in terms of so what happened is, what I want to emphasize, because otherwise the lecture will go into the omniscient knowledge, which will cover some other aspects. So I'll confine my explanation to this. So Vasana and Anusaya have been removed. So so Vasana, because Arahants also have Vasana, Pacceka Buddhas has also Vasana, but this Vasana is not going to cause a rebirth. This can affect the certain physical and verbal acts of certain Arahants. So because of Vasana, sometimes the Arahants may act like they have lust. Sometimes they may act like they have dosa, but they do not have Anusaya dosa. So Vasana is not a problem in terms of liberation. It is an obstacle for the wisdom. So Milinda Panya, according to not the Milinda Panya, according to our tradition, it says because of the Vasana, the Buddha doesn't get, others doesn't get the omniscient knowledge. So Arinang Hata. Then we have Aranang Hatatta. Aranang Hatatta means he has cut off. Hata means destroy. So Aranang Hatatta Arahang. Ara here means the sparks of the cycle of rebirth, like the Paticcasamuppada. Because there are 12 sparks like Avidya, Sankara, and so forth. He has destroyed them. Specifically the Tanha and Avidya. When Tanha and Avidya is cut off, all the other sparks of the wheel is cut off. Wheel means the wheel of Paticcasamuppada. Then another explanation is we have 1, 2, 3. Another explanation is Naraho Arahatta. Arahang Paccayanang Arahu. So Araha means deserves. He deserves the Pacca. Pacca means offerings. Because when someone offers something to the Buddha, it would give lots of benefits, lots of vipaka. Then na raho paroti papa. Na raho karoti papani. Na raho, sorry. Raha means secret. Na become a here. So become Araha. So he doesn't do any evils in terms of in secrecy. So this is an attribute that is valid for Arahants also, normal Arahants. Even they don't do any evil deeds in secretly. So one teacher has explained this quality is specially comparing the Buddha with other religious leaders. That's what his explanation, comparing with other religious leaders, because Arahang is a quality that this quality is found in Arahants also. But personally, it seems like some of the qualities mentioned in this Itipiso verse can be observed in Arahants also to a certain degree. So there's no problem in that. So one teacher I have seen in a book mentioned that is not doing evil deeds in secretly even is when Buddha is compared to other religious leaders, the leaders of other sects. So, but it seems like it's not a problem that certain attributes can be found in the Arahants also. Then there are some 6 other explanations found in the Visuddhimagga Tika. This is what we found in the Visuddhimagga. Then in Visuddhimagga Tika, we found another one is Araka. So Araka is far away. He is far away. Araka Asapurisehi. So here he was Araka from Kilesa, far away from Kilesas. Here is far away from Asapurisa, means unvirtuous evil people. So the simile is given in Dhammapada. Buddha mentions Dure Santo Pakasenti Himavanto Pabbato Asantetta Nidissanti Rattikitta Yatasara. It means even a person who is virtuous, very good, with a good conduct, even though he's so far away, it appears to me like a Mount Himalaya. Himavanto Pabbato. It's like the Mount Himalaya is very visible, even is far away. He appears to me. But even someone is close to me, if he's not practicing according to my instructions, or if he's not virtuous, he is not seen like the arrows which are shot in the darkness. So the simile was we can compared with Sunakatta, who was the attendant of the Buddha. So he was not close to Buddha in terms of the qualities. So the explanation gives, even the someone, Buddha also mentioned in the Itivuttaka Pāli, even someone holds my robe and follows me step by step, each step. Still, if he doesn't practice the Dhamma, he's not close to me. Even someone is far away, 100,000 yojanas, kilometers away, if he practices Dhamma, he's close to me. So that is the explanation. So with this, there is another explanation, Arakha Sappurisehi. So this is, I'm also unable to explain this. The commentary, sub-commentary says that the word Araka also have a meaning of closeness. So this is, I'm unable to say why the same word has been used in two meanings. I asked my friend also, Abhivan's a friend, but I still didn't get an answer for that. Because the current sub-commentary, what I have read, the word Araka has the meaning of far away, and also word Araka has the meaning of being close. So I was a little bit surprised on that, but I'm also in search what is the grammatical philosophy behind this, what is the grammatical rule behind this. But according to sub-commentary, the same formation was made. One is close to Buddha with the word Araka, one is far away from Buddha with the word Araka. So Arahang, so this is how they construct the word Arahang. So in terms of Araka, we have three explanations: far away from kilesas, far from unvirtuous person, and close to the virtuous person. Then also another word is Raha. Rahitab, Raha. Another explanation is Rahitabba. Rahati. Word Rahati is, it comes from the word to abandon. The word Rahati has a meaning of abandoning. So the word comes, this formation comes, Rahitabba. Abhavatu. Right? So na raha. So it becomes Rahitabba means something that should be abandoned. So na raha become araha. So what should be abandoned is kilesa. Rahitabba is kilesa, defilements. So he has abandoned all the defilements that should be abandoned. Then again, abandoning na rahitabba. Here is, he doesn't have what should be abandoned. Here he should not be abandoned. Na rahitabbu. Araha. So what does it mean? He should not be abandoned. He should be associated again and again by wise people. It's not that you associate him one time and it is not worthy associate him again. Sometimes some people, just one encounter is enough, because if you keep on associating them, it can cause problems. So Buddha is not so. Because even a person who has completed his practice, Arahant, we should associate him again and again, because they would get lots of benefits out of him. Even Arahant would get new knowledge, new ways of thinking. So wisdom can improve because of associating him. Nothing to say about Sotapannas, Sakadagamis, and all the Putujjanas, because they will surely have many things to learn from him. So he's not a person that should be abandoned. He's a person that should be associated again and again. So it's another word for Raha. Then another meaning is Raha. Raha has a meaning of going. The word Rah has, the root Rah has the meaning of to go. So going here means going from life to life, the sansaric journey. So he has abandoned the sansaric journey, which we do because of tanha, because he doesn't have tanha. He's not wandering in sansara. So then naraha become araha. He doesn't have that wandering in the sansara. So this is another meaning. And then again another one is araha. Araha is deserves. So here we say paccyayanang arahu. He deserves paccaya. Paccaya means requisites, offerings. Here he deserves praise. It's called, he deserves the praise. Praise means, Pali word is vanarahu. It's a one word. Vana Raha. So connected, Vana, he deserves the praise because he has such good qualities. So even wise people, Devas, Brahmas, all they can still praise his qualities. So he deserves this praising. Then another one is Araha. Another one for Araha is deserves. He deserves to Ana Chakkam. Avattetum. Arahu. He deserves to promulgate the Vinaya. Ana Chakka, Buddha's Ana Chakka is Vinaya. So when someone follows the Vinaya, certain Vinaya rules, if someone follows, that could lead for their present life destruction, disadvantages, future life disadvantage, and also the disadvantages of others. So, but the Buddha's Vinaya rules, if you practice them, that would only bring benefits. So he's a person who deserves to, who is capable, and who should be promulgating certain Vinaya rules, because following them, there's no harm in us. So likewise, there are another few more explanations. So I'll just conclude it because I have given lots of explanations here. So these were taken from, this last one is taken from one Mahasiniya Mahatera. Also Dhammachakkam Anachakkam, especially it says the Anachakkam Pavattetu, because Anachakka, king may also make some rules, but it doesn't mean, such rules are not sure to be bring benefits always, but Buddha's Vinaya is for sure. So therefore, these are the few explanations that can be found about the meanings of the word Arahang. Some seems to be later developments based on the grammatical and philosophical explanations. The Visuddhimagga contains only 5, and it doesn't mean that it is only confined to 5. So in later traditions, we find these meanings have been extended, looking into the grammatical explanation and also looking into the text. All of them are taken, doesn't contradict with the text, and all have references why these words were formed. So some are directly related to the suttas. Yeah, this is what I would like to share on this. I'll not go into the other attributes. I think you can understand. If you go and keep on explaining all the 24, it'll completely take 3-4 days without any other questions. So I'll just finish it with Arahang, and with the time we'll try to explain one attribute per a day. Yeah. If you have any questions on this.
Bhante?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, Robert.
So does the wasana is like habit, like Bhante? So does it
Yes.
only refer to bad habit, Bhante?
Normally, it is referred as bad habits. Sometimes I have seen one shadow mentioning about Kusalavasana. I haven't come across such word yet. Thesis about Kusalavasana, I couldn't ask him what was the meaning of this word. So as far as I know, Vasana is confined to the wholesome thing, because we have in when you look into the Vibhanga commentary in terms of Akusala, we have Anusaya and also Upanisaya. Upanisaya is the effects of your past. When we do certain acts, we have a habitual effect. It affects our mind stream. So Akusala have two supporting factors, Anusaya and Upanisaya in the past. But in terms of Kusala, like wholesome, we don't have such an Anusaya. We have only the Upanisaya support. So it seems like the Vasana and Anusaya are things that just follows us, which underlines our mind stream. So to my understanding, these are always unwholesome. So far I haven't seen any Vasana that is explained as Kusala. If we want to explain about wholesome habitual things, we attribute them to Upanisaya and Asevana. So such kind of pachyas, not to this kind of underlying mental quality like Anusaya or Vasana. So it seems like Vasana is only Akusala, as far as I know.
Okay, Bhante. And then Bhante, so for the qualities, Bhante, so it means that among the 9, not all is exclusive only to the Buddha, right, Bhante? So there are some that might be shared with
Yeah,
disciple
some,
also.
can be shared by the Arahants also.
Okay, Bhante. Yes. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, sorry.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Excuse me, Bhante.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you very much for your kind and very detailed explanation. Can I have 2 questions?
Yeah.
And yeah. So as you say, so there are, this explanation is like 5. The first 5 is from Visuddhimagga, and the remaining is from Visuddhimagga Tika. Is that right?
Remaining up to here. This one I took from another book.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, there were 6 actually. I gave only 5, right? Or 6. I have given all the 6. 5
Okay,
from
so
the Magga, 6 from the Tika. Yes. Yeah.
so that means that there's no explanation from the original Pali text itself by the Buddha himself.
They are all taken from the original Pali text.
Oh,
They have reference.
okay.
These constructions are from the Pali text. They have referred to the Pali text. Why examples given by the Buddha, but Buddha has not directly mentioned this. It's like with the teachings in the Buddha's teachings, looking into the grammatical words construction, we construct these meanings. These meanings means like, for instance, he is far away from an unvirtuous person and close to a virtuous person. These have been directly mentioned, but whether they are related to the word arahang, that is not directly mentioned in the text. But looking into the word formation, they combine the philosophy and the grammar. So this is called in Buddhist grammar. Grammar is not only just a language; it's connected to the philosophy. So that's what they have done.
Thank you. So these, as you say with Brother Robin, these 11, right? 11 explanation. Some can be shared with other Arahant, the Savaka also. So
Yeah,
for
some
example, which
qualities,
one?
right?
Can you
Like,
please
for
show?
example, he rahita defilements. He has abandoned the defilements. He has abandoned the journey in the sansara. So these are also possible for arahants, right?
I think my question should be, which one is only exclusive to the Buddha?
Some only. Like, for example, ana chakkam pavattetung araha. So he is the only one who deserves to make the promulgations, because arahants can do it, but there can be some how do you call it? Sometimes they may not fully match like the bring benefits like the Buddha did, because arahants have some limited wisdom compared to the Buddha. And also, when you talk about destructing the enemies, they don't destruct the vasana, they destruct only anusaya. So partially, some qualities are found partially. Some can be completely found. Now, for example, not wandering in the samsara, there is no partialness. Arahant is also freed, Buddha is also freed. When you take the rahitabba means that should be abandoned, he has abandoned. Arahants have only abandoned the anusaya, not the vasana. So likewise, we can find some parts of certain attributes are exclusive to the Buddha.
Great. Thank you so much. Can I also have a question related to last time or not?
Last?
The previous question.
Okay.
Can I have the number question number 20? I think the 23.
Okay. You mean
yeah, the sandwich one?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think the meaning of that question is that why not the Gaya Yam and Gaya Sise be next to each other, but they have to be separated, and there's a verb in between, and that's the thing. Is that the way that the sentence should be constructed? Very often
No,
met.
it's not a rule. You can say ekan samayam bhagava gayayang gayasi se viharati. You can bring the verb here. It's no problem.
Oh, wherever is okay. Yes, yes. And also, now you talk about that, Bhante, I cannot catch the reference book that you say there will be the full, a lot of story about Kosiya, Sakka, Maggavihāri, like that. Because that is the, what is the name of that book, or that is the, what is the name of that section? Can you please share with us?
You mean last time I mentioned about a book about the.
Yes, there is some very more detailed explanation about those, or why the name of those, yeah, means or something like that. But I cannot catch the
No, I
name of
mentioned
that reference.
the system of the world, like Deva world structure, has been explained in the one book. If you can find this one is called 31 Planes of Existence.
Oh, 31. Okay.
So this is written by I think a foreign, like a Westerner. So this book is a book you can find. I think this can be bought from Amazon or something. So it contains lots of information directly taken from the literature. I'm
Last
not
time
sure whether it explains about these terms. It explains about the Mara, his behaviors, all these like details of the 31 planes.
I think last time I heard something about in Pāļi, but maybe, yeah, I will
That
listen
is
to.
Pāļi also we can find these in Mula Pannasa, Majjhima Nikaya First Sutta, Mula Pariyaya Sutta. Sutta doesn't have Sutta commentary. Also contains some information.
Okay.
Now these terms, another book. Okay, Pāļi book. These terms are Nigandu, Pāļi Nigandu. So Pāļi Abhidhana Padipika Pāļi is the word. Abhidhana. You can find in Chatta Sangayana. If you open, first the Buddha's qualities are mentioned. I think the second was Sakka. Within the first few pages, you can find this. Then you go to the its Tika. You will find the explanation.
Yes. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Bhante.
Okay, so.
Bhante, relating to the
Yes.
Buddha's qualities, I have one more question, Bhante. So, like, I've heard that actually the Buddha's qualities are infinite, Bhante. So, my question is, why these 9 that are elaborated, Bhante? What is the reason, Bhante?
Normally, we say all the infinite attributes of the Buddha have been categorized into these. Whatever the qualities of the Buddha can be put into these 9. So this is like a summary. Like you can, all the attributes can be explained either any one of these 9 qualities.
So this is like the summary, Bhante.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And all the other qualities can be put into one of these.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Bhante. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay. Any questions? So shall we move to the next question? Okay. So could Bhante please explain more about Patavi Sanya? Patavi Sanya, we have 2 types of Patavi Sanya. That is Paramatta Patavi Sanya. And Panyati. So you may be wondering why I put the lingual ta here. In Myanmar edition of the Tipitaka, we have dental ta, while in Sri Lankan, we have lingual. It is very famous in Sri Lanka. This is a very, we find a huge contrast in. If you say in Patavi in Sri Lanka, people will not understand, or they will see it as a mispronunciation. But we are normally pronounced with the ta, Patavi Sanya, but in Myanmar they have a dental sound in the whole Tipitaka. So I use the Sri Lankan way of writing because in all my handouts I have used the lingual ta. So Paramatta Panyati Patavi Sanya is what you get when we practice the Patavi Kasina, right? The Patavi Kasina. So in the beginning we focus on Patavi Nimitta, Kasina Nimitta, and then we come into the Uggaha Nimitta and Patibhaga Nimitta. So the first one is just the Patavi, the disc, we call Parikama Nimitta. It is a material thing. Parikama Nimitta is material. So it's nothing to do with our Sanya actually. We focus on it and try to get the get it into our mind. Then we have Uggaha Nimitta. It means even if you are focused, if our focus was very strong, after we close our eyes, we'll be able to still observe the object. Then we have Patibhaga. So this one is considered as a Panyati for sure. This one is considered as a Panyati. So this Uggaha Nimitta, Parikama Nimitta is a material thing. There's nothing to worry about. It's always Paramatta. Paramatta means it's something material, right? This is nothing to do with our mind. Uggaha Nimitta, when we close our mind, we can observe it. Whether this Nimitta is a Panyati or Paramatta, I'm directly unable to say. But I have seen in books this Uggaha Nimitta has been explained as a Panyati. Uggaha Nimitta and Patibhaga Nimitta both has been explained as a Panyati. Then in some places, I have seen certain explanations like when the Patibhaga Nimitta comes, it turns, when the Patibhaga Nimitta appears from Uggaha Nimitta, it turns into a Panyati. So it seems like the Uggaha Nimitta is a, now Parikama Nimitta was a material object, which is a Paramatta Dhamma. So Uggaha Nimitta is a memory of this object. Because in Patibhaga Nimitta, it's a very bright, clear object. Uggaha Nimitta has whatever defects found in the Parikama Nimitta, in the material object, can also be seen in the Uggaha Nimitta. So Uggaha Nimitta is like a memory of the Parikama Nimitta. So I personally feel it is a past object, like what you have seen in the disc is you get a memory on it. So it can be a past object what you have seen. So it seems to me like it is a Paramatta object that what you have seen already. But in some books, it has been explained as a Panyati. So I'm unable to give a direct explanation to my understanding. Panyati, this is how it has been seen in certain books. And Paramatta quality also is, I personally find, because of some explanations given in like Abhidhammatta Sangha and so forth. Because if you look at the Abhidhammatta Sangha, it says this Patibhaga Nimitta appears from a Sabhava Dhamma, as far as I remember. It's like, it seems like the Uggaha Nimitta is a Paramatta object. Anyway, so so far this is another question that I was unable to clarify to even to myself. So I just leave it as it is. Then so Patavi Sanya, when we practice the Patavi Sanya, it means the Patavi Kasina. What we are supposed to focus, it's Panyati nature. Panyati nature means now Patavi disc is made with certain clay, which are little bit reddish. That is how the Magga says, little bit reddish, like the color you see in the morning sky, Aruna Vanna Mattika. Then we make it a circle. Normally it's a circle. So Visuddhimagga instructs not to focus on the hardness of this Patavi disc, because hardness is the ultimate quality. Then not to focus on the color, because color is also an ultimate reality and it falls into the one color. It falls into the color group. So in Patavi meditation, I mean just explain because the question was asked about Patavi Sanya. So in Patavi Kasina, so what we focus is Patavi. We just say Patavi. So Patavi has two meanings here. One, Patavi is hardness. Hardness is an ultimate reality. I just write ultimate UR, right? Then hardness as a Patavi as a hard thing. So hard thing is like it's like a Panyati. What does it mean? Hard thing means now the patavi can be used just to mere hardness, and something which has hardness is abandoned. Hard thing means because it contains all the other three elements, because according to the Theravada teachings, Abhidhamma especially, we cannot have just the one element alone, according to Patthana. So this, if something has excessive hardness, so then we call it a hard thing. So hard thing means we collectively take all the rupas in it and we consider it as a thing, not as a collective of rupa kalapas, or not as a collective of various rupas. We consider this as a one thing, but it has abundance of patavi. So in patavi kasina meditation, our object is this thing which has hardness. So which also has a color. So that's why the Visuddhimagga says you focus on the thing Usadavasena, which has abandoned of patavi, but you're focusing on the thing without abandoning the reality. Without abandoning the reality means the hard thing means something which has hardness. So when we are focusing on a hard thing as a panyati, we cannot avoid the hard quality. So it's a mixture. So ultimate quality is also found in there, but we are not focusing on ultimate quality separately. We are focusing on it as a thing, like a samuha panyati, something like that, or santana panyati with a shape. So this thing which has a certain shape and which has a lot of hardness in it is considered as the object of our meditation. So that's why even from the Uggaha moment, Uggaha Nimitta, that's why maybe the teachers are calling it as a panyati. Teachers are calling, because we are supposed to focus on the panyati. So what I personally feel is, even though we call it a panyati, because when we remember certain thing, we cannot just avoid its ultimate nature. That is also true that you cannot have a panyati without ultimate realities. You cannot have a panyati without ultimate realities. Always a panyati is connected to ultimate reality. So its paramatta quality can also be found, and also some information found in the text. That's why I just had a doubt about whether it should be called panyati, because I have seen it has been explained as a panyati, because what we are supposed to focus is the hard thing. So then when it comes to the patibhaganita, it is obvious that is just a panyati. It's a synthetic construction of the mind. Then this is the panyati pativisanya. We have few stages. This one is just the material thing. We don't need to worry about that. These two is what we call pativisanya. Then paramatta pativisanya means when we practice the especially vipassana meditation, or when we focus on hardness, certain hardness of a thing, the sanya which focuses on that is called paramatta pativisanya. It can be the sanya associated with vipassana chitta while we focus on patavi. And also the kaya viññāna directly observe the patavi, even though it doesn't have a full understanding on it. The sanya associated with kaya viññāna is also can be called paramatta pativisanya. But the difference is in kaya viññāna, it doesn't have any intellectual understanding on it. But when you come into the vipassana stage, the understanding is much higher. So we can observe two types of pativisanya. And this, a person who has, now this is the meditation object that you get when we are practicing. A person, also we have a vipaka pativisanya, that is also a part of the panyati pativisanya. It means after someone has practiced, while practicing, we get these two types of pativisanya, which are considered as panyati according to the tradition. That is found in the kusala chitta or kiriya chitta. So if someone dies and is born in the Brahma realm, our patisandhi bhavanga chuti chittas in the Brahma life also has the same pativisanya. That is of the patisandhi bhavanga, those vipaka chittas, patisandhi bhavanga chuti are focusing on the kamma nimitta of the previous life. That is the patibhaga nimitta of our meditation. So the pativisanya found in patisandhi bhavanga chuti chitta of Brahma can be called as the vipaka pativisanya, because that sanya is found in a vipaka chitta. So these are the things that I would like to share regarding pativisanya. If you have any comments or would like to discuss on this, forum is open.
So Bhante,
Yeah.
before I read one sutta, it mentions some devas, they are endowed with Bhatvisanya. So in that case, how can we understand?
That is the Patavisanya Devas are the Brahmas who are born in the Brahma world after gaining Patavi Kasina. If someone is born in the Brahma realm because of a Patavi Jana, as a result of a Patavi Jana, Patavi Kasina Jana, they are called Patavi Deva. They are called Patavi Deva. So Devas with Patavi Sanya are also referring to Patavi Deva, who are the Brahma. They are not Devas, they are Brahmas. You can see this in Mahasamaya Sutta also. Patavi Deva, Apo Deva, Tejo Deva, Vayu Deva, they all refer to the Brahmas actually, who are born due to the specific Kasina meditation.
Oh, you see, in that sense, I was thinking, what is that the meaning? Oh, okay, thank you.
So that's why I said there's a Vipaka Patavisanya. Vipaka Patavisanya is found in such Brahmas in their Patisandhi Bhavanga Chuti Chitta.
Hi, Bhante.
Yes, Dr. Ryan.
I have a question about the Parikammanimitta. So you said the Parikammanimitta of the Patavi is material thing, and it's Paramattha. But then so Parikammanimitta is where the meditator is. So he made the disc, and then he looked into the disc. He looked at the disc.
Yes.
But then does that mean it's a Rupa Ramana? They have nothing to do with the earth element? How can we say that is the earth element?
You mean we are focusing on the Rupa Ramana, right? Yeah. So that's a very good question, because if others understood, like, I'll repeat the question, because we are looking at a certain disk, Patavi made out of earth, which has a lot of Patavi, but still we are looking with eyes. So we are focusing on the Rupa Ramana. So how can we call it a Patavi disk? Because we are looking at a color. This is your question, right?
Yes, Bhante.
Okay. So this, according to what the Visuddhimagga says, so we cannot avoid the color. We have to go into the color first. That is obvious. But we have to consider, we have to focus on it as a thing. So it's a very, that's why sometimes some yogis get confused on some. I have seen some yogis are just focusing on the color and try to get that image. So this is not Kasani meditation. If you focus only on the color and try to get the image, this is just like we are focusing on a color and try to see, like, for instance, you look into a light and just close your eyes, you will still see the light in your mind. You can still see it in your eyes. So likewise, this Patavi Kasina meditation is not focusing on that, as you said, not focusing on the color. So here the Visuddhimagga asked us, it is true that you go into the object through color, that is true, but intellectually we should understand this is an object, collectively all the Rupa Kalapas, including color, which is arranged in a certain shape, which has abundant Patavi. So this thing that we are focusing on. So it's like you look into an ultimate reality, and mentally you are trying to understand it as it has a conceptual thing. So that that is the knowledge a meditator should get. Just focusing on an earth, this is not enough. That we have to mentally, intellectually think. This is a person who knows Abhidhamma especially has to think this is a construction of Rupa Kalapas, but it has a lot of Patavi in it. So we are not focusing on Rupa Kalapa. We know it's a thing. It appears as a thing with abundance of Patavi. So that thing, what we focus. So that's why our meditation idea should be, I'm focusing on a hard disk. It's just a disk. So disk is a panyati. So when we look into the eye, even though our eye is related to connected with the ultimate reality, intellectually in our mind, though, we have to come into that idea of a thing.
So I'm a little bit confused here. So so we look into that. So that is the Rupa Ramana
Yes.
So rupa ramana. So we know that, okay, so everything has to be, it has to have at least 8 aviniboga rupa.
Yes.
We know that.
Yes.
And then the rupa ramana looks to me that is the only the Vanna portion, right? It has nothing to do with the four Mahabhuta and the
Yes.
other 3. So it's just the Vanna. But the Vanna, sometimes we translate it as the color, right? So what is so when we say that the Parikamma Nimitta, we say that is the Paramatta, then what is that? Is it Vanna or is it the, the Patavi of the, the Paramatta?
Yes, yes. Parikamma Nimitta is all the 8 rupas. When I say ultimate reality, it is a collection of all the 8 rupas. Even though we see only the color, it has all the 8 kalapas. So that's what I mean, like it is a material thing.
But then the eye cannot take the other 7. How can the eye take the other 7?
Yeah, so that's why I said eye takes only the rupa. Intellectually, with the mind, though, we have to consider it as a collection of rupa. So it is something, that stage we need to put certain effort to come. Now with the eye we go into color, but mentally we are thinking it's a collection of rupa with hardness, and it's not only a collection rupa, it has a certain shape. So then we come into the party. So it's like this. For instance, if we draw it, Vanna, the color. So this is what is we understand with the eye. Then when we come into the mind, though, we have to understand it is a collection, 8 aviniboga. All are found. So these all in my mind, though. But this is still not enough. Then aviniboga rupas are arranged. Arranged means have been arranged in a certain shape of a disc, maybe. So these also mind. Then of a disc, for example. Then this, finally we come into the disc. The disc with abundant hardness. So these also mind. So this kind of a synthesis has to happen when we meditate. So we come with Vanna eye, but intellectually we understand there are all the 8 rupas. Then these aviniboga rupas are arranged in a certain manner of a disc. These also understood with the mind. Then we come with, this is our final object, the disc which has with abundant hardness. So this is what we practically see. This is what is practically see with the eye, but this is the object of our meditation. So these are the certain intermediate steps that the mind has to understand. So this is the knowledge a teacher has to give when a yogi is going to meditate on this.
So, Bhante, so according to what you're saying is that when the Parikamma Nimitta is going to be the disc with abundant harness and is the object of the mind, or?
Yeah. Parikamma Nimitta is a collection. Parikamma Nimitta, what we see in the eye. For example, Parikamma Nimitta is the aviniboga rupas in a certain shape. So this is Parikamma. So this has nothing to do with our mind, because this is something we have already made, this Parikamma Nimitta. So then when we look into the Parikamma Nimitta, what we get is the Vanna. This is this is the moment we are involved in meditation. This part is without our, whether we look at it or not, when we just say Parikamma Nimitta, it's a collection of rupa. So whether even we look at it or not, whether we meditate or not, it can still be called Parikamma Nimitta. But when we focus on the Parikamma Nimitta, as you said, we get the Vanna. We focus on the Vanna. Then it's the person should not focus only on Vanna, Visuddhi Magga says. If you focus on Vanna, you're focusing on reality. Then we have to understand this Vanna is together with many rupas, with hardness and all sorts. So these Avinibhoga rupas are arranged in a certain shape of the disk. So this is what we have to think in the mind. Then, so this is like they are arranged in a certain shape. Then what we focus is not the Avinibhoga rupas. We construct this idea of a disk in the mind, and that disk is with abundant hardness. So that is what we are trying to focus in our mind. But when you open the eye, we see the Vanna. With the mind, though, we have to come into this idea.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Bhante.
Okay. So was it? If you have any further clarification, we can lead this discussion.
Yes, I need to contemplate on this a little bit, Bhante. Yeah, thank you, Bhante.
Hello, Bhante.
For further reference, if you look into the Visuddhi Magga Patavikasina, there is when we focus on it, it gives this kind of Pāli terms without abandoning the color. Why we don't abandon the color? Because it's found in the Avinibhoga Rupas, and without focusing the hardness. So abandoned hardness is there. So these both, the Vanna and the abandoned hardness, both are found in this final object. But it's not focusing on Vanna, it's not focusing on hardness. We are trying to focus on the disk with the abandoned hardness and a certain color. So if you look into the Visuddhi Magga Patavikasana, it's mentioned in Pāli for further reference.
Okay, thank you, Bhante.
Hello, Bhante.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, Bhante. I have one question on following on this line, talking about the attainment of the jhana and the object we take. In the case of using Anapana as an object for concentration, what is the thing that is being focused? And also, what when the nimitta arises, what are the characteristics? Should one focus on the concept of reading, or one of the qualities in, out, or in some ultimate reality later on? Can you elaborate a little bit on that line? Thank you.
So in Anapanasati, what the Anapana? So what I'm bolding with bold colors is the object. Whether we think about it or not, the object of Anapana is Rupa Kalapas, Avinibhoga. Actually, it's 9 rupas according to the traditions. 9 rupas in Kalapas. That is Saddhanavaka Kalapa. That is how it is mentioned. But personally, I feel 9 rupas and Avinibhoga. With 9 rupas, this is called Saddhanavaka. Because the tradition says it's Saddhanavaka, so I have to write it. Saddhanavaka Kalapas and Avinibhoga Kalapas. So this is the breath.
Yes.
This is the breath. So whether we focus it or not, this is the nature of the breath. Then when we meditate, right? We are focusing on this breath. Right? We are focusing on this breath. So into our body, Anapanasati is understood with the bodily contact, especially with the bodily contact. So we are either feeling Patavi, Tejo, or Vayo in the body door, body conscious, Kaya Vinyana we can call it.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So then our mind though, consider it as a breath body. This is by Mano Vinyana. This is our object, breath body. So in between, as we discussed under the Patavi, So this is what happens. So this is our mind knows this is a, if you are well versed in Abhidhamma, this question comes normally, collection of Rupa Kalapas. Arranged in a certain manner, like a tube, like a bread body. This is also mind door, we understand, right? So before that, we can also insert another step. It's a collection of rupas. So this is also mind door. So why do I insert this? Now this is this first step has nothing to do with our mind. It's just the breath. We objectively observe the breath. Breath is a collection of Rupa Kalapas. But when we try to practice, we feel with Kaya Vijnana either Patavi, Tejo, or Vayu. That is our initial stage, right? Because we focus on the, we apply with Kaya Vijnana. Like Kasina is started with I, Anapana with Kaya Vijnana. Another meditation that is known with Kaya Vijnana is Vayu Kasina. Vayu Kasina can be seen initiated with eye consciousness and also body consciousness. So then our mind knows if we focus only on Patavi, Tejo, Vayu, we are trying to see the ultimate reality. It is a good pathway to Vipassana. If you want to develop Anapana Samadhi, we cannot go in this way. We have to come into a Panyati like we did in the Kasina. So our mind should know, even though it's a Patavi, Tejo, Vayu, we are going to, our final destination is the breath body. This is our final object. Like it happened to Kasina, the object is the disc with abandoned hardness and a certain color, because we cannot avoid the color, right? So in the Anapana is the breath body, Sabbakaya, right? Breath body is our object. So how can we come from this stage to this stage? What is the mental process? For some yogis, they directly come into this. There's nothing for them to, nothing much to think. But if we are analyzing it, especially with the knowledge of Abhidhamma, if we keep on, if we think deeply how this happens, technically, how to understand it, right? I think anyone can focus on breath body, but how to understand in terms of Abhidhamma, this question is logical. This has to come. So then our mind, we know, if we analyze it, even though Patavi, Tejo, Vayu, final object is breath body. So how do we come from here to here, from this step to this step? We know it's even though we only felt Patavi, Tejo, Vayu, as we only saw Vanna, our mind should know there are a collection of rupas there. It's not only Vanna, there are a lot of rupas in the disc. So likewise, in the breath body, there are a lot of rupas. So that has to be understood with mind, because Kaya Vijnana cannot understand this. Then we are focusing in the Kasina, we focus on a disc. The final is a disc. So these Avinibhoga rupas are arranged in a disc, in the shape of a disc. It's just a Panyati. It's just how it is located. The same way, this breath body, these Rupa Kalapas are found in a like a tube. Like a tube means, why do I mean as a tube? It goes in and out like a tube. Like for instance, you press a toothpaste tube. The toothpaste comes out from the hole. So likewise, the nostril, the air comes out in a like a stream, right? So what is this stream? Yes. It has a beginning, it has an end. It's a collection of Rupa Kalapa arranged in a certain manner, like a tube, I would call, right? Just tube means it is like coming out like a string. So then these are the basis. Then our final object is the breath body, right? Breath body. So in the Kasina also, our final object is the disc. So this is a breath here it's a breath body. In this breath body, we can know with abandon Vayu, right? If you want to add something, we can add it's abandoned with abandoned Vayu. So with here it's with abandoned hardness and a certain color. Here it's abandoned Vayu, right? It's with abandoned Vayu, and it's keep on still coming up, moving up and down. So then someone can ask why this is not different from Vayu Kasina. Is it different from that? It seems like very similar. But in this way, we focus on the breath going in and out, and then we keep on observing the breath till the last moment, like beginning, middle, and end. All the breath body, the entire breath body is being observed. So according to what we understand is it is different from the Vayo. We observe Vayo Kasina. Here we are talking only about the breath body that goes in and out from our body. So then when we focus on this, when we keep on focusing on this, what happens at a certain time, a Patibhaga Nimitta arises. So Patibhaga Nimitta is something which is constructed in the mind. So but now here in the Patavi Kasina, even though we focus on this disc, when the Patibhaga Nimitta appears, Patibhaga Nimitta is very similar to that of the disc that we have already been contemplating upon. So the disc we have been contemplating, it's very, very, very similar to that. Yeah, it's similar to that Nimitta. So therefore, that is why it's called Patibhaga. Patibhaga means it's similar. So what we have focused, the disc, the Patibhaga Nimitta is similar. But it is a newly constructed one, which is very bright and which doesn't have any defects that was seen in the Parikamma Nimitta. But when regarding Anapana Nimitta, Patibhaga Nimitta is completely a different thing. Patibhaga Nimitta is similar to the disc. Right? So if you focus on Nila Kasina, you will have a blue disc. If you focus on the Patavi Kasina, you will have a disc, the same color that we observed, that which contained here. It had a certain color. That color will be would be found in it, but the idea is about a certain disc. So idea is, so that's why when we come into Kasina, the idea of the mind, the synthetically constructed idea is the real object. It's not the disc itself, because this, as Dr. Han says, is just a color. It cannot be the object of this meditation. It is an idea constructed from the mind. What is this idea? Disc with abandoned hardness. So in here it is similar with the disc that we focused. But when we come to Patibhaga Nimitta of Anapanasati, it's not similar to the breath body. But in Vayokasina and all, it is similar that it is Vayokasina breath Patibhaga Nimitta is also said to be similar. I'm unable to explain how it appears. So this one is like sometimes you may get a flower, you may see some stars, you may see some like a sun, completely a different object from the breath body. So that is a very huge difference in Kasina meditation and Anapanasati. Then what happens? We are supposed to focus on this Patibhaga Nimitta, giving up this focus on the breath body. Why is that? Breath body, even though it was initially used as a means of concentration, when you are talking about the jhana concentration, breath body is an obstacle, because breath body has a limitation. It has a beginning and end. It ends, and also it has breath body has different variations, the shortness, longness, and also there is a certain gap between two breaths. So all these can be interruptions for our continuous concentration. Patibhaga Nimitta doesn't move or doesn't start and has a starting and a beginning. So you can fix on this object and just focus on it. So Patibhaga Nimitta is one thing. It is a construction in the mind. Breath body is something else, and the mind observing is something else. So a yogi who at this stage, a wise yogi, the Patisambhida Magga says, has to understand the difference of these three things in Anapana. What is the breath body? What is the mind observing mind? What is the Patibhaga Nimitta? Then abandoning the breath body, he just focuses on the Patibhaga Nimitta.
Yes, Bhante. Thank you so much.
Yes, also.
Sadhu.
Any questions on it? Okay, so we'll just go for another short question. while I was doing an
Hi,
extract.
Bhante. Hi,
Yes,
Bhante.
Doctor.
I'm sorry. So it is okay. So remember last time I have a question about the two different samapatti, the arahata samapatti and nirodha samapatti.
Yes, yes.
So may I have like a follow-up question from that, because I
Okay.
thought about that, and then because it's not complete for me. So is
Okay,
it
sure.
okay if we can
Okay,
continue discussing about that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So last time, so we kind of established that the for an arahant, if he's enter into the arahata phala samapatti, then another one is he enters into the nirodha samapatti. Then the nirodha samapatti is more blissful than the arahata phala samapatti, because in the nirodha samapatti there is only rupa still going on, but in the arahata phala samapatti, then we have both nama and rupa. So that's what we agree on that. But then when I thought about that, then what about the case of the an arahat, but he is in the arupa plane. In arupa plane, he can enter into phala samapatti as well. Then how are we going to compare that? You know, on one hand we have the an arahat in the arupa plane, but he's enter into phala samapatti, and another one in, let's say, in the kama plane, he enters into the nirodha samapatti. So which one is more blissful?
Okay. This is another very, very important question. So we have, according, I'll write it for everyone to understand clearly. So we have phala samapatti. In kama world. Then we have phala samapatti in arupa world. This is kama and rupa both, right? Because they both have body and matter.
Yeah.
Then nirodha samapatti in kama and rupa world, right? So when we now technically think, now when a arahant in a phala samapatti in kama and rupa world, he has chitta still working, chitta focused on nibbana, and rupa is present, right? Chitta observing nibbana and rupa. Then phala samapatti in the arupa world is only chitta observing nibbana. Then we have nirodha samapatti, no chitta, just and but, right? So now the question is, just make them see to understand. So now we have, when we compare, we just last time we compared phala samapatti in kama and rupa world, because this person doesn't have a chitta even when it is found, right? Because both are all are arahants, so there is no comparison in the suffering he's freed from. Both are freed from suffering equally. If you talk about anagami, we can argue like arahant is more freed from the suffering that is to come, so arahant is always in a blissful state than anagami, and so forth. We can argue on that. That's why we gave up the discussion about asanya satta, because he is not freed from the suffering that is to come. Though then we stuck in a question, which is a very tough question, like arahant, he is freed from the suffering. There are three types of arahants. Arahant who is in the kama and rupa realm, entering into the phala samapatti. Arupa in the arupa realm, entering into phala samapatti, and arahant in the kama and rupa realm, entering into nirodha samapatti, because there is no nirodha samapatti in arupa realm, right? So then when we compare the first and third, so now we are not talking about the suffering that is supposed to come. He's freed from all the suffering that is supposed to come after this life. Now we are talking only about the present suffering. So chitta arising and passing away is a suffering, and rupa arising and passing away is a suffering. So when we compare the 1 and 3, there is no chitta, but it has only rupa. Then, so he has both chitta and rupa. So we can conclude that this is more blissful than the first one. So what about the second and third? He has a chitta observing the nibbana, but no rupa. But in the third one, he has no chitta, but rupa. So then we have to come, it's a very nice question, like we have to understand what is more suffering or absence of which is more blissful. So it's like here we have chitta, yes, right? No rupa, no chitta, but rupa is yes. So this has to lead to a comparison. So what do you think? It's which absence of which would be more blissful? Personally, I'm not able to give an exact answer on this. Personally, I feel absence of chitta would be much blissful, but then someone can argue, no, rupa is like, the suffering of rupa is like, it's much heavier. It brings lots of problems that you have to every day use it, because arahant's suffering is most related to rupa, because his mind is freed from defilements. So these kind of counter arguments can be brought. Then another way to look into it, I'm also constructing an argument on this, like a chitta, whatever suffering is found is observed by the chitta, felt by the chitta. Even though rupa is full of suffering, that suffering is always present to us, is experienced us as long as the chitta is there. So even someone can argue, even the rupa is present, as long as the chitta is missing, there is a rupa's suffering is reduced by the absence of the chitta. So these are the counter arguments. So I will open the forum for you to bring also the arguments, because I'm unable to give an exact perfect answer. My personal preference goes to the Nirodha Samapatti still, but I would like to look into your comments also.
Yeah, so that is what I thought, Bhante. So let's see. So now let's not talking about the Arahat Pupala. So so now we talk about the Puthujjana. So for Puthujjana, right? So for Puthujjana, then let's case 2 and 3. So number 2 is similar to Arupa Brahma, right? Yeah. And for number 3, that is similar to Asanya Satta, right?
Okay. Okay, right. Now we're talking about Puthujjana in Arupa.
Right.
Okay.
Then because we know that in order to reach into the Arupa, he has to make more effort than reach to the Asanya Satta. So it looks like the Arupa it should be higher. It has to be higher. It has to be better, because it's harder. And then we know that in the 31 plane, it's higher. It's ranked higher than the Asanya Satta.
Yeah.
So does that mean that if we use the analogy, can we say that the case number 2 is better than case number 1 and number 3?
Yeah, according to this similarity, it has to be, right? Because Asanya Satta, Arupa is more blissful than Asanya Satta. So then, yeah, it has to be. According to that, it seems like that. According to this, because Asanya Satta doesn't have chitta, Arupa doesn't have rupa. So without chitta, rupa, without rupa, chitta, it is more blissful according to the tradition. This is considered the highest bliss below to Nibbana bliss, like Lokuttara bliss. This is the highest mundane bliss we call. Why? There is no rupa. So therefore, it seems like, because if you talk about Asanya Satta and Vehappala, Asanya Tatta is more greater than Vehappala, because he is absence of, he's not having any rupa, nama in there. So, but Asanya Satta and Arupa is higher. So if we bring that comparison here, Palasamapatti in Arupa and Nirodha Samapatti in Rupa, Kama Rupa, yeah, it seems, according to this seems much higher bliss than that. Yeah, it's a very, very nice argument. So how about others? Anyone has any other comments on this? yeah, it seems this comparatively we have to accept this idea. Seems, but I'll also think about it. Thank you for this new point of view. I'll bring this to my friends also and have a good discussion on it. And also, yeah, so far we have to say it seems like because when you compare it with the Asanya and Arupa, Palasamapatti in the Nibbana in the Arupa realm seems to be higher. But what I initially said Nirodha is more blissful. According to the suttas, it says Ditta Dhamma Nibbana. It says like that. So yeah, it's a valid argument, Dr.
Okay, thank you, Bhante.
Thank you for that. Thank you. So any questions on that, or shall we call it a day, Sally?
Yes, Bhante.
Okay, so just keep the questions posted. We'll try to finish as much as possible. So I think we'll go into the questions earlier, and if there is any time, we'll go into the attributes, because I gave a word I'll be discussing about the attributes each and every day. So we'll try to first go to the questions and try to cover much, because today we did only 2 questions, I think, right? So there were some follow-up questions. So we'll first try to go through these few questions and then come to the final one, attributes. So
Thank you so
I can
much,
also
Bhante.
give a short answer to this. This now 27 is, yes, it's accusative absolute according to the Western grammars, but according to tradition, it is not. So I'll explain it briefly. What is the traditional explanation and modern explanation? According to the modern grammarians, this is accusative absolute. Okay. So wish you a nice day and thank you for joining.
Thank you so
Thank you so much, Bhante.
Thank you very
It's
much,
Thank you very much,
interesting.
Bhante. Thank you very much.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu.